Hey all you super players out there, Ben Loris aka 5 Buck Lunch, and today we're going to look at all the new super rares from the new Draft Box 5. I know the prices have been kind of hyped on them, and we'll have to take a look and see if it is actually worth it to pre-order some of these super rares for like 50 bucks. We're just going to go by color. We don't have all the multicolors yet, so I'm not going to go through those. It's all the Angels and Destroyers, but I am going to go through just the regular monocolor cards in this set. So first off, we have Flight of the Grand Eagle, which is first of a set of one for each color. They all have a counterattack card like this. Counterattack, choose one of your leader cards of battle cards. It gets 100,000 power for the turn. And if the leader card is red, you can activate this card's counter skill by choosing two of your non-token battle cards and reducing their power by 10k for the turn instead of paying the cost. This card is really, really good. It's a negate that gets around the whole can't be negated clause, and it's even more powerful than After Image technique. You're basically never comboing through this. So for all intents and purposes, it's a negate that can't be stopped. And the only downside is that you have to have two battle cards on the field, which I guess for some decks might be a problem, but usually red decks are pretty good at reducing the or having multiple guys on board. So I would see this being played quite a bit. Super Saiyan Blue, Kaioken Son Goku, Concentrated Destruction. It's a 3-drop for 15k with Deflect. Auto, when you play this card from your hand, choose all your opponent's battle cards, 20k power or less, and KO them. Active main for 2 red. If your leader card is red, you can place this card from your hand in the drop area, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, gets minus 25 for the turn. So this card's pretty solid. It'll probably be like a 1 or a 2 of in red decks. It's nice that it has the utility to minus something, ignoring barrier, or clear a board. So it'll probably be in a side a lot too because it can be sided for multiple strategies. I'm not sure if it's better than some of the other like solutions we have. Like I don't think it's better than Vegeta, who in a red deck can be played for 3. So it's essentially the same thing for the auto, but it can be played on your opponent's turn. Uh, the fact that if for 2 red you can kill one thing is pretty nice. So it can, for example, kill the uh, Invoker cards for 2 red mana, which is pretty good. The fact that it's double mono red can be kind of awkward too. So we'll have to see. It has a lot of positives and negatives. It'll probably see at least a little bit of play though. Frieza Imperial Inspiration. It's a 4-drop 5k for 1 combo. 20k power, and when you combo with it, you can choose up to one of your cards, leader cards or battle cards against critical for the battle. So this is a pretty good card. I don't think it's as good as giving something double strike because it's more like an early game. Like if your card already has a double or triple, you can maybe hit for a couple extra critical. But having the ability to go to double strike for game is always going to be better. Also, the fact that it's a 5k hurts it quite a bit. So it's not a bad card. It'll probably be played in like very, very specific fast decks. Like for example, you could play it in the Gohan leader deck in a version where you don't play Feat Kamehameha and you can get your critical this way instead. It allows you to play less heavy green. But so yeah, so it's not as good as like Champa, but it's definitely something that we'll see play in very specific decks. And it's kind of cool that we have the option to do that now. Ultra Instinct Goku Monumental Presence. 4-drop, 20k. Has critical, active main for 2 red. If you have 2 or more skillless battle cards and play with an original power of 10k, so it's got to be skillless with 10k, and you don't have a copy in this card in play, play it from your hand. And you can't play another copy for the rest of the turn. Auto, when you play this card from your hand, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with 20k power or less, ignoring barrier, and KO it. Um, this card is a draft card. It's not going to see any real play, I don't think. Playing skillless battle cards isn't terrible, but playing 10k skillless battle cards is pretty bad. So, yeah, you won't see much of this play in actual Dragon Ball. Ganos Birds of Prey, 5-drop 30k. Double Strike Deflect. There's a lot of Deflect in this set, actually. I wonder if that's going to keep going for the rest of the set. Anyways, auto this card gets minus 15k power for the turn. When one of your opponent's cards attacks, negate the attack. Okay, so that's pretty cool. It's got a colon, so it's optional. But yeah, and it's not once per turn, so you can negate 2 attacks, but then he dies. But I can see how that's supposed to go with Flight of the Grand Eagle, because if you Flight of the Grand Eagle him, then you can just negate all the attacks for the turn, essentially, so that makes sense. Activate main, choose 2 skillless battle cards in your drop area, remove them from the game, switch this card to active mode. Wow, that's also not once per turn. Wow, okay, so this, in a red skillless deck, this would be insane because you can drop it. It's got double strike deflect, so they can't do much about you dropping it. And essentially it can it can keep attacking so long as you have 2 skillless or a drop area. This is actually a very interesting card. I didn't know about this card going into the video. This is pretty cool. I'm going to have to try some decks with this, possibly some like Goku Black red decks with it. Seems pretty interesting. Going on to the blue cards, which we only have 2 of them. Dispo Sonic Subversion. 2-drop, 15k. Auto, return this card to its owner's hand, then choose 1 card in your life, add it to your hand. That's a cost, so it's optional. When your opponent plays a battle card with energy cost greater than their current energy, choose that card and return it to its owner's hand. Auto, when this card is removed from your battle area by opponent's skill or KO, draw 1 card. Alright, that's actually really good. So this is basically anti-successor, anti-arrival card. That if your opponent gets rid of it, you draw a card. Pretty simple, probably see some play in certain decks, especially side deck. Munti After Image Slash, 4-drop, deflect. Permanent, if an After Image token is in play in your battle area, this card can't be KO'd. Auto, when you play this card, play 3 After Image tokens, which After Image tokens have 15 power, 0 combo cost, and 5k combo power. Active main, once per turn, your opponent reveals the top card of their deck. If it's a battle card, at the start of your opponent's next main phase, choose up to 1 of your blue energy and switch it to active mode. Huh. Alright, that's pretty cool. So basically when it comes down, it puts 3 tokens on the board, which that's pretty good rate. You have 4 attackers for 4 essentially, which is pretty good. And as long as he's in, as long as you have a token, he can't be KO'd. So he can be removed other ways, you just can't be KO'd. And then at the start of your turn, basically you're usually going to untap a blue energy. Because for the most part, cards and decks are battle cards. It seems pretty solid. It's awkward. I don't know what I'd play it in, I guess. Because it's not a bad, it's definitely a good card. I'm just not sure what it fits into. Yeah, seems interesting. Green, here's the rebrand cards everyone's excited for. Pretty Black Hole, counter attack, negate the attack, then you may choose 1 of your battle cards, negate its skills, and place it in its owner's drop area, and if you do, draw 1 card. Then choose any number of your opponent's non-token battle cards, energy costs equal to or less than the energy cost of the card you place in the drop area with this skill, KO them. Alright, seems pretty good. Negate the attack. So once again, it seems like all these cards need you to have battle cards on the board, which is interesting because that's not really where the strategy is right now. But it's definitely good. I mean, so KO a useless battle card essentially, draw a card, and KO some of their cards. Pretty simple. Probably see some play. Let me see. Does it have to be? Oh, and it doesn't have to be a green leader, so that's interesting. So you can put this into decks like, so for example, this could be pretty solid in decks like Piccolo, where you can maybe KO your Zamasu or your Goku Black that's already been used, something like that. Get some utility because you draw a card and KO something else. Seems pretty solid. Rebriad Punishing Passion. So this is probably the best card in the set in my opinion. It's a 2-drop 15k. Active main for green green. If your leader card is green, you can send this card for your drop to your warp. Your opponent chooses 2 cards from their hand and places them in the drop area. So obviously it's amazing in Piccolo. That's basically what it's for. For green green, it's essentially a reverse Goku Ape. Kaksuna, Beastly Maiden. 4-drop 20k, counterattack, negate the attack, then play this card. If the leader card is green and it's your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost in your hand by 2. When you play this card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. Seems pretty good. It's a negate that can KO a battle card for 2 if your leader is green. Definitely be played in Piccolo, probably played in some other things as well. Rebrand Avatar of Affection. So this is the big drop for the Rebrand Universe deck. It's a 5-drop 30k triple strike. If leader card is green and this card is in rest mode, your opponent can only attack this card. So it's essentially like a super deadly defender. When you play this card from your hand, choose all your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier and KO them, so it KOs everything. When this card is removed from your battle area by opponent's skill or KO, choose 1 green battle card with energy cost 3 or less in your drop area. Play it with its skills negated for the turn. So it recurs. The recursion's kind of cool. I wish it had protection rather than recursion. Like if it had barrier or deflect, it would almost be way better than having the removal thing. But it's definitely a good card. I mean, you have to play 5 for it. That's kind of the downside. But all of these skills put on it, I think it might be good enough to play for 5, which not many things are. So we'll have to see. This could just be your bomb play in like Piccolo Surge or any kind of green deck, but it seems pretty solid. We'll have to see. That's a lot of really good skills put on one card. Yellow, Basil Fatal Rampage. Only one copy of this card can be played in your battle area. When you play this card, draw one card. Okay, it's a 1-drop for 4k. Whoop. So it's a 1-drop draw card. If your opponent has 5 or more cards in rest mode, this card gets plus 15k power and dual attack until the start of your next turn. Seems solid. It'll definitely go in its universe deck. The fact that you can, it's a 1-drop that just has a potential upside later for free. It's a 1-drop that draws a card. It's not bad. See a little play. Giant Ball, I actually really like this card. It's a 1-drop extra card counterplay when the battle card being played. When the battle card is played, you may choose it and switch it to rest mode, then draw one card. So this is essentially a slightly different Crusher Ball that replaces itself. So it's a weaker Crusher Ball that replaces itself. What I mean by a weaker Crusher Ball is you have to select the card, which means you only get one battle card to switch to rest, whereas Crusher Ball hits everything if multiple comes in at the same time. And if you can't switch barrier cards to rest because it chooses, which could be a downside given some situations, but I think the upside of drawing a card means that it's just like in turns, you can just play this card to essentially stop an attack. Like it has a lot of utility. Like on turn 2, if your opponent plays, like if you're running up against plays against a lot of deflects, Crusher Ball is useless, but you could still play this to draw a card. It won't switch him to rest, but you could still use it to draw a card. Also on like turn 2, if you don't want to take attacks from like a rush deck, you can play this and it keeps your recursion going. So I think this is slightly better than Crusher Ball, even if it has less utility in terms of what it can hit, but I think drawing the card is good enough where it doesn't matter. Venomous Fist Lavender. Blocker, barrier, deflect. So all the keywords. 4-drop for 19. Activate, choose 2 of your opponent's energy, switch them to rest mode, then negate the skill for the duration of the game. This card is really good. You can drop it, and at some point you can basically invalidate your opponent's ability to defend themselves. Very strong card. Bergamo, Ferocious Roar. Auto for, or 5-drop 20k. Auto for 1 and a yellow. When one of your opponent's cards is switched to rest mode by one of your skills, play this card from your hand. Okay, so it's essentially a 2-drop 20k. When your leader card is yellow or a Universe 9, so either or. When you play this card, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards or energy cards, ignoring barrier, and switch them to rest mode. Alright, this card is amazing. There's another card I didn't know was in the set. Why is this card amazing? Any card that gives you the ability to tap your opponent's energy on their turn is automatically good. For the most part. There are very few that aren't good. So basically what this says is, alright, I'm going to play the Yellow Zamasu super combo. I'm going to tap your leader, pay 2, put this in play, tap 2 of your energy. Or I'm going to play a Crusher Ball, tap your battle card, play this for 2, tap 2 of your energy. Like, that's so good. Yeah, this card will definitely see play. This might be one of my favorite cards in the set, to be honest. That's really good. And here's the card everyone's overhyping, and in my opinion. Jiren Army of One. Quadruple, it's a 9-cost, 35k. Quadruple Strike dual attack, so 2 attacks with Quadruple Strike. If your opponent has 4 or more energy at the start of your charge phase, if this card is the only card in your hand, you may play this card from your hand for free. So, what does this mean? This means that it's basically a finisher for rush decks, where you can go all out, play... Then on your opponent's turn, you combo all your cards away, except for this card in your hand. Your turn, you play this card, and then you draw. That's important, that drawing. You don't have to draw it. You can play it and then draw a card. But, like, man, that situation has to be perfect for that to work. It's going to be really nice when it works, but you have to combo the exact amount. You have to know what your opponent's last attack is in order to combo out the right amount of cards. You have to not have negates in your hand. It happens at the beginning of your turn. There's no way to manipulate your cards at that point. Like, it's going to be nice when you get it, but I don't know how often you're going to get it or if it's going to be consistent enough to do. The one deck I'm actually mildly interested in seeing this played in is the Black Majin Buu deck, because every turn you're dropping your hand anyways, so you just drop all your cards instead of Jiren, plop Jiren on the board at the start of your turn. That could be interesting, but I'm not really sure what other deck this is supposed to play in consistently. I mean, it's a cool effect, it's big and it's splashy, and it's expensive right now, but I honestly don't think it's going to see that much play. Black cards. Uh, Koitsu. Oh, geez. Koitsuaki? I know I butchered that. Mechanical Courage. Active main for 2. Remove this card in your drop area from the game, then choose up to 2 cards in your hand. Place them at the bottom of your deck in any order. That's all cost. Draw cards equal to the number of cards you place at the bottom of your deck with the skill. Then for the turn, if your opponent plays a battle card with 20k power or less, they choose 2 cards in the hand and send them through the warp. Wait, why does it say? Oh, it's only active main for 1. For some reason it says 2 in the description, but it's 1 on the card. That's actually really good. It is a essentially 1-cost way for you to stop your opponent from playing all the little counterplay guys. Or if they do, they have to choose 2 cards and send them through a warp. So this is basically a fair minus Killy zone, essentially. Because it doesn't say your opponent can't play them, but they have to take a big cost to do it. And it's something that it's good in black decks because you can send it to the grave and use the effect from the grave. It only costs 1, has a little bit of utility. Yeah, very good all-around card. We'll definitely see play in side decks and things like that, and a much more fair version of minus Killy Zone. Protector of the People. Counterattack. Negate the attack, then you may choose 1 card in your hand. Place in the drop area. If you do, choose one of your leader cards. It gains the following effect for the turn. When this card is attacked by a battle card, it gains 5k power. It's pretty solid. So it's basically a counterattack and a Senzu Bean kind of stapled onto each other. It's going to be really good against go wide decks, obviously. But counterattack, and then you may. So you don't have to discard the card, which is really nice. And then basically for the duration of the turn, every time it gets attacked, you're going to get a Senzu Bean tacked on. Really good against going wide decks. Very solid card. We'll see some play. Doesn't have any restrictions on what color, so you can theoretically side this in every deck if you wanted to, just for like a go wide answer. Yeah, really solid card. Anilaza, the Towering Atrocity. Everyone's really hyping this card, so we'll have to see. So it's a 5-drop, 25k, double strike barrier, permanent. When this card is removed from a battle area or combo area, it is placed at the bottom of its owner's deck instead. I think they had an errata on this. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to double check quick because I think there's an errata on this card. Okay. So when this card is removed, or basically removed from battle area combo. Oh, they changed it on here too. Okay. Ignore that then. It's already on here. When this card is removed from battle area combo area, it's placed at the bottom of its owner's deck. Active main battle. Choose one of your black cards, energy cost of 5, send it to its owner's warp. Play this card from your drop area. So this card, I can't decide. I'm not sure how you get it to your, like you have to mill it. You can't just combo with it to get it to your drop, so drawing it's not great. Or discard it off an effect, so you could like discard it off Protector of the People, for example. And people are talking about playing this with the Hatchiyack that comes in play for 3. So you pay 3, bring it out and play from your drop, swing with it. If you attack a battle card, it stands back up, and then you warp it to put in play Anilaza, Towering Atrocity, which is basically a 25 double strike barrier. Seems pretty good. There could be a black deck out there that's really interesting with this. You need a way to mill or discard to make it work. It's certainly interesting. I don't think it's like horribly overpowered or it markets the amount that Hatchiyack costs. It's also interesting that you could use these cards in the black Boo deck because you can discard them and then it gives you another attack that's a double strike, which is interesting. You can't go into the 6-drop Boo though then, so I don't know if the trade-off's worth it. Definitely interesting. The whole Universe 2 or 3, I can't remember which one it is, deck is really interesting. It all involves this effect of like, you can't just discard them, you got them, or you can't just combo with them, but they come in play by warping a card, and it's an interesting deck. We'll see. It's a 25k barrier is not bad either, to be fair. Son Goku, Strength of Legends. 9-drop, 35k. Permanent, only 1 copy of this card can be played in your battle area, and this card can't evolve into other cards, so they made sure you couldn't evolve it into like Victory Strike and stuff. Active main, if you have at least 1 mono red, mono blue, mono green, mono yellow card in your drop area, you have 4 or more energy, play this card from your hand. Wow, that's actually... Oh, I thought you had to pay for that. So you put it in play for free. That's pretty cool. It comes in play for free if you have 1 of every color card, which is feasible in some decks. Like, that could be a thing. It has to be mono cards, so you can't play multicolors. So basically this would be like the payoff of the whole deck. It has Universe 7, so you could just play in a Universe 7 deck with all the different colors. It's pretty easy. Active main once per turn. red, blue, green, yellow, so one of each color. Switch this card to active mode, and it gains critical, double strike, and dual attack for the turn. So you quit attack with it, switch it to active, and you get dual attack, critical, double strike. Pretty solid. It seems like they're trying to give Universe 7 like more of a universal finisher for like the old Universe 7 deck, not the Invoker deck. And this is pretty good. This might be good enough. You're going to have to watch what you charge, obviously, because while Warrior of Universe 7 makes your costs generic, it doesn't make your abilities cost generic. So you would have to still charge an actual red, blue, green, yellow card in order to get this to work. Very interesting, especially when it comes down to cool Universe 7 finisher. I'm actually really interested in trying this in the new Android 17. I've really liked that leader. There has not been a way to play it effectively yet. This could be it. On turn 4, you just drop this big bomb. But yeah, we'll have to see. It doesn't have deflect. It'd be nice if it had deflect, but it seems a pretty solid card. Yeah, so that's all they have posted on here. I know there's a few more. I'm going to go ahead and try and find those for you real quick. All right, so here are the ones that weren't up on that DBS decks yet. I just want to go over them quick. So for blue, we have Hit Deadly Vanguard, which is a 5-drop for 15 counterplay. If this battle card is if the battle card being played and costs 5 or less, it is returned to its owner's stand instead of being played. Then play this card permanent during your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost in your hand by 2. It's basically 3-drop 15k. When this card this card can't be returned to your hand by skills. Auto, when you play this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost 5 or less, and return it to its owner's hand. So essentially what this is it's a bouncing Vegeta. When your opponent plays a battle card that's 5 or less, you counterplay, play this for 3, bounce the card being played, and you can bounce one of your opponent's other cards with 5 or less. It seems interesting. Blue has a much easier time playing counterplays because of all the untap effects, so this will definitely see some play, but it's not nearly as powerful as Vegeta because it doesn't actually get rid of the card. Can't be returned your hand by your skills, so they don't want you bouncing it and replaying it, essentially. Next one is Zerloin, Maiden Supporter, 5-drop 30k. Auto, when you play this card, choose up to one green battle card in your hand with energy cost of 4 or less and play it. Alright, so it's a 5-drop that plays 4-drop. Auto, KO this card. Whenever your opponent's card attacks, your opponent can't attack with battle cards for the turn. Interesting. So it doesn't actually negate the attack, but it makes it so you can't attack anymore. Auto, when this card is removed from your battle area by its opponent's skill or KO, choose up to one green battle card, energy cost of 4 or less, drop area, and play it with the skills negated for the turn. That's interesting. It's weird that it's an actual 5-cost card that is essentially a defensive card, which is kind of interesting. And you can basically for 5 you get 9 worth of cost. I don't know. It's interesting. We don't really have a card like this that goes wide and then defends. So that's pretty weird and interesting. I don't know. I have to look a little closer at the Maiden Squadron deck. Seems like it got a lot of interesting new cards, so we'll have to see. Definitely not terrible, but 5 is probably too much for this effect. Dirty Burst. This is the blue counter card. This one's actually a counter play, and it costs another blue, which is interesting. So this is a card that is a counter play and a counter attack. The counter attack is simply negate the attack. The counter play is you can pay a blue, so it costs 2 blue. Draw 1 card. Your opponent can't attack with battle cards. Cost of 7 or more for the turn. Pretty cool, actually. It's useful against, I don't know if it's useful against anything right now, but it basically says for 2 blue you can stop any secret rare from attacking. Like the big Jirins and things like that, you can stop from attacking. It's a pretty interesting card. The utility on this is insane, and blue has the ability to pay a lot more energy on your opponent's turn, like I said, because of the untap effects. I think this card's pretty good. I'm looking forward to trying this card out. The last one we missed is Great Priest Herald of Deliverance, which is a 5-drop 20k, has critical. Only 1 copy can be played in your battle area. Active main. For 1 blue, if you have 4 or more energy, you could choose 2 non-Great Priest God cards in your battle area, return them to the owner's hands, play this card from your hand. This is pretty cool, actually. There's a lot of the little gods all have effects that search the top card of your deck or do something else like that. And getting to replay them is pretty much a positive. The fact you can only have 1 in play kind of sucks because it means it's really hard to make a deck about this card. Like, you can't just make a deck and have this be like your big win condition playing a bunch of these because you can only have one. But it's definitely not a bad card. I wish it was like double strike instead of critical or had a little bit of protection, but seems interesting, not fantastic. So yeah, that's all the super rares, the monocolor super rares. They haven't released all of the multicolors yet. We'll probably do a video on those later. But the best ones, I think, are Dirty Burst is pretty good. I like that card a lot. Uh, I like Mechanical Courage is a really good new side card. I like Giant Ball a lot. In general, a lot of the counterplays are just really good. Uh, the Ribrianne, obviously, is really insane. That card's really good. And that's pretty much it. Flight of the Grand Eagle is pretty good too. But yeah, so this isn't going to be like the other draft box, I don't think, where the cards are going to be $1 billion. I expect the good cards in this to end up around 20 to 30 and the bad super rares to be regular bad $5 to $10 super rare price. We'll see. Maybe I'll eat my words later. I mean, it is a draft box after all. But the cards in this are not as like insanely high utility as the ones from the last one. And I think the print run's going to be a little more. We'll see. I know the initial print run, people were having problems getting it. So maybe not. Maybe these cards will all be $1 billion and I'll just be wrong. But this seems much more like regular set prices than draft box prices. But hey, we'll see. Yeah, so if you liked the video, please like, subscribe. I'll probably do a video on the multicolor ones later this week. Go out there, play some super, have some fun, and everyone be safe.